everyone. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. My name is Jane Applegath, founder of the Epic Vision Zone, Conversations That Inspire. Each show, we offer you an inspiring person or message to bring you closer to your big dream so that you can live your epic life now. Thank you for being here. And if you're listening to the audio version, make sure you're following the episode on your favorite app. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Our guest today, Dana Earhart, says you must be willing to work more intentionally on yourself than you do anything else, or you risk being the biggest limitation in your business. With 25 plus years in consulting, Dana has built teams from the ground up and led teams of 2 to 100 across multiple continents. It was almost 11 years ago, with a toddler in tow, when she took the leap, leaving a 20-year career in corporate consulting to launch her own business. Today, as a business growth strategist and the CEO of Dana Earhart Consulting, Dana helps transform overwhelmed and overworked 6- and 7-figure business owners to thriving 7-figure CEOs without the grind of being workaholics. By blending business strategy with personal growth and development, Dana delivers a holistic approach to business owners ready to optimize their way to 7-figure revenues, creating more money, more free time, and more joy. Welcome, Dana. Thank you for being here today. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Just loved our conversation a few months ago and just really excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, our pleasure. So let's delve in. I love your story. So what inspired you to do the work that you do today?
Well, it really is my life journey. I started in corporate consulting right out of college, and my 20s, I was completely focused on climbing the corporate ladder. I wanted to be that strong, independent female executive, the husband and the kids. That was just going to happen, but I was really focused on my career. And I was really fortunate that my 20s, the career progressed incredibly well. Made my first 6 figures before I was 30, bought my first house. As you shared, I was leading a team of 100 across the United States and in London. I was also in a situation where I boarded a plane on September 9th, flying out to Manhattan. I was in Manhattan on the 9th and 10th, and I was boarding a plane the morning of 9/11. I was fortunate. Obviously, I'm here. It was a traumatic day for so many of us. And that was the start of 3 things for me. The event there, turning 30, and then a couple months after that was my first visit to the emergency room and a cardiologist office. I was very fortunate. It was not my heart, but it was stress and anxiety. And what I realized at that point is that my entire life revolved around work. So while I was successful in my own right, achieving what I wanted, I didn't think about the consequences of how I was living. And fast forward to my 40s, when I launched this business, it was paramount to me to not only bring the tactical strategies to business owners, also to really help them create a holistic approach to growing their business, which also included taking care of themselves along the way. And that, as you shared the quote, that not only must you be willing to grow yourself or you become the greatest limitation and liability in your business, it's also a matter of taking care of yourself along the way, because that's the only way that you can really bring 100% the best version of yourself to everything that you touch. And that's, I consider myself very blessed to be able to do what I do now and working with business owners, helping them grow their business while also ensuring they're getting the time they want outside of the office to spend with their family, with loved ones, doing things they enjoy.
Yes, God forbid if we enjoy our life while we have a corporate career. I mean,
Right.
honestly, but wow, thank you for sharing that story. That is That is incredible. So I have a question for you. Were you in the airport ready to board the plane when it happened and then they grounded all the planes, or had you boarded? I'm just really, when you said that, I was like, where was she? Like,
Great question. I was supposed to have flown directly home the night of the 10th. I had rearranged where I was flying out of because a client wanted to meet with me. We actually spent a good portion of the day of the 10th in the Newark Marriott Hotel, which I later found out is where several of the terrorists had also been staying. Um, and I was fortunate that I'd actually caught one of the last flights out the night of the 10th, but I missed my layover. So I was stuck in Colorado. And I was
mm,
literally boarding the plane that morning when my dad called me on my cell phone. And it was a very panicked voice. Quite honestly, I thought he was going to tell me something tragic had happened to my mom.
mm.
Fortunately, that was not the case. However, he did share what had happened. And at that point, I believe only one tower had been hit. So I was one of the last ones to board the plane. So I still boarded because I wasn't sure what to do. I just wanted to get home at that point. Um, and they had somebody come out of the cockpit who said, "We'd like to wish you a good day, but it's not." And he laid out what had transpired and said, "We need you to not only deplane, we need you to evacuate this airport because we will still be accepting incoming flights." And it was just an incredibly surreal moment as we got off the plane because, of course, all of the TVs in the airport stemmed from the CNN towers in New York City. So it was all static, and
Oh,
except for
oh.
one little TV in one of the bars, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning at this point, but 100 of us must have gone into this bar to just look at this old TV with rabbit ear antennas so that we could see what was transpiring.
Mm. Yes, how
And
surreal.
it was very surreal. I was fortunate. A friend of mine's family lived in Colorado, and while I had never met them before, he put a call into them, and his sister came and picked me up at the airport, and they took me in for 2 nights before I could get a rental car to actually drive home from Colorado back here to Nevada. So while it was tragedy, I also experienced just the spirit of human kindness, and
Mm.
it was a surreal moment, and those are days that any of us who lived through it will never forget.
Oh, all of us lived through it. I wasn't in the area, but we were glued to the television. I mean, it was, we didn't even go to sleep. I mean, we're all waiting for
Right.
the next, shoe to drop. But fortunately, well, I mean, other things did transpire. And it's interesting because that sort of was, in a way, a wake up call because you said things
Yeah.
sort of transpired from there. It set
Hmm.
things in motion for what happened. And I'm not even
Yes.
sure if that was the trigger, but something in the back of my mind says, something in the back of your mind was saying, wow, life is short and you never know when anything might happen. So I'm so glad that you made that through all of that. And thank you for sharing your story. It's unfortunate that sometimes we need a slap in the face, a real hard slap, to
Yeah.
realize that work isn't our life. It should be the other way
Right.
around. But that being said, I love this. We've got what's the one thing that really fires you up. Now you've gone
Mm.
through all of that and you have 4 steps to change. Give us some insight into that.
Absolutely. I think, the four simplest steps to keep you moving as a leader, as an owner of your business, is so often there's so many things put on our plate, so many moving or spinning plates, if you want to say, which one gets our focus in any given moment. That the best way to keep yourself in action are what I call the 4 Ds, and maybe there's a bonus. But the first D is simply do it. If there's something on your list, the most important task, give it your attention and your intention to move through that. If there's something on your list of action items that you can delegate then by all means move to delegation, whether it's professional or personal delegation. The third area is delay. Sometimes we have things on our list that, while yes, we want to make progress in that area, it's actually not directly tied to our overall goals and vision. So it is something that can be delayed, or what I often say, clients will hear me say, let's put that in the parking lot. Let's park that until Q4 or Q1, and we'll bring it back up and talk about it. The fourth area, or the fourth D, is what I like to say is dump it. Oftentimes we have things that in a split moment we thought needed to be added to our list, but the truth is it doesn't need to be done right now. And the bonus D is distractions. And that's where you want to eliminate distractions and really, I think of the bowling alley with my son when he was a lot younger, and you'd put the bumpers up. So create boundaries and don't let yourself get distracted with those shiny objects that really will not add to your movement towards your goals. It will only distract you and take you off course.
I love those. Do it, delegate, delete, dump it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I love that.
Well, delay. I guess there was a do it, delegate it, delay it, or dump it.
Or dump it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think a lot of us need to put things in the dump it category because, it's just like, yeah. And certainly when it doesn't align with what you're doing, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. But so simple, but yet not easy. Right.
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
Because you really have to be aware. And I know we get caught up in the doing, and yeah, the do it is like, okay, we're doing and doing and doing and doing, but then we don't pause to say, okay, is this necessary? And it's interesting. Dana, I just wanted to bring up, because I had a woman ask me just the other day, well, how do you address time management? Because, all of us, especially CEOs and entrepreneurs, the two top things on their lists are I don't have enough time and I don't have enough money, right? And so that is perfect for her, because you're right. I mean, everybody thinks they don't have enough time, but all of us have the same amount of time. And yet there are some individuals that are highly successful and get everything they need done and then some. But it's a matter of being aware of what you're doing and then breaking it down in that format. So I love that. It's very useful. Yeah. Is that something you get asked a lot about, the time element?
It is. And if I can add to what you were saying on time management, is I often look at it from a different perspective. And I will say that none of us, unless we have access to the world clock, we actually are not able to impact time management. Mm-hmm. What we can manage is how we use that time. What attention do we bring to it? What intention do we bring to it? What focus and even what energy we put into that time to really optimize it. So it's not about managing the time. The time is going to go by regardless. It's how we utilize that time.
Very good point. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, that is absolutely the case. Spot on. Thank you. Why is it important for us to understand how we define success?
Great question. And I think truly each of us defines success in a different way, because it's attached to what is it that we want to be creating or accomplishing in our business, and what do we want to create and accomplish in our life. Just like I said, in my 20s, I was really clear on what I wanted to do at that point. Then it was also realizing that how I defined success in my 20s is not how I define success now. And so I think it comes down to really giving yourself permission to create your vision. One exercise I start off every single client with is, I want to know what you want your life to look like 1 year from now. And that's your life. So before we even get into setting the business goals, I want to know the life they want, because I want to make sure that we're building a business that supports that life. And that's also coming from what I experienced in corporate, where I allowed my life to simply be squeezed in around the corporate requirements, the position demands of me at the time. And that's not really what I want to be part of as I'm helping clients now. It's certainly not what I want in my life. My life now has really been about building a business that supports the life I want, which means I have a soon to be 12-year-old. I realize I only have 6 years left with him home. I want to make sure that I'm maximizing that time.
Right, absolutely. So, a question for you: when you ask, especially the type of individual that you work with, who are very high executive oriented, work, on the treadmill, when you ask them that question, what would you like your life to look like a year from now? Do you find that it stumps them because they haven't actually given themselves the space to even consider that? I'm not talking about the business, I'm talking about their
Right.
life.
Usually, what I will say is when clients are coming to me, they actually are at the point where they realize that while they want the business to keep growing, they do not want it to keep growing with the costs of negative impacts in their personal life that they're already starting to experience, whether it's lack of energy, realizing they're not taking care of their health, their relationships might be crumbling or not getting quite as much attention, they're missing date nights, missing activities with the kids, friends, etc. So while I don't ask them on the spot, and so maybe that's why I don't necessarily hear the hesitation to begin with, it's always preempted with, I want you to give yourself 60 to 90 minutes undistracted, whether it's, fingers to keyboard, pen to paper. I want you to paint a picture with your words of what you want an average day in your life to look like 1 year from now. From the moment you wake up, what does your room look like? Who are you waking up next to? That probably came from my perspective of being post divorce. What did I want to be attracting into my life? But all the way through to when your head hits the pillow at night and you are smiling from ear to ear because of what you created and what you accomplished. I want you to know what that looks like, but I also want you to be able to share what that looks like with me. And not just what it looks like, I want to know what it feels like. And so and I give them some questions to be thinking of through the answer, although it's not a Q&A, it truly is designed to be written as a chapter in their book, their life story. A lot of them have fun with it, and I've had someone type up single space 7 or 8 pages of what that day looks like. So when they get permission to do that, it's actually beautiful, because then we use that to build out the goals. And that just feels very in alignment with what I want to be creating in my life, and what I want to be supporting them to create in their life as well.
Oh, you just hit on so many fabulous key issues, Dana. Oh my gosh. The thing that you said you want them to feel, of course, the feeling is everything, because that's the
It is.
emotion, right? And that's the energy in motion. So if we
Mm-hmm.
can put ourselves in that future day a year from now that we have imagined, we are calling in our vision. We are
Yes.
calling in our vision to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so magical to have that, not only the permission to imagine, but the permission to then share it with someone, because then that makes it more real. And I love that. And that's great that people just continue on. But the key here was that you gave them permission. And once they have that, then they allow themselves to get inspired by
Mm-hmm.
what they know can become a reality, because we all create our own reality. So that is a fabulous, fabulous exercise. Question, do you do it yourself every year?
I do. I very much do. And, I also think it's a living, breathing document because once they've written it, and even myself, the next assignment is to read it every single day. And if you want to take it one step further, it's read it out loud in your phone so that you have the recording of it. And then you can listen back every single day in your voice, in your words of the exact life you're creating, because it's been written or it's been written as if it is already here. It is that day you're waking up and this is the life you have. Because as you said, it is the feeling leads to the beingness.
Yes.
And we know that results come from who we are being, not just what we are doing. And so for me, it's a way to kind of link all three of those together.
Yes, absolutely. It's believe, behave,
Mm-hmm.
become. That's what that is.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Believe, behave, become. We should get a whole group of women together to write our every annual, an annual sit down and write our letters and then swap with each other. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be awesome.
Oh, that would be
Absolutely.
awesome. Okay, we'll put that on the calendar later. But yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I love that exercise. Thank you so much for sharing. Wonderful takeaway. So, what are three ways we can keep the business spark alive? Because I know when you're an entrepreneur, and especially when you're a high level CEO, it does get heavy many times.
Absolutely. And, everything that I've shared here and that I share with clients to have them bring to their own life, I also encourage, where appropriate, that they bring some of these exact same exercises to their team. And so when it comes to, what are three ways to really keep that spark alive? First and foremost, as we've already talked about, and the name of this podcast is vision. And to really be clear, not just on your personal vision, then also the vision of the company. And vision is the long-term goal, that 3, 5, 10 year, maybe even longer goal for the business. It also, though, bring it down into more manageable bite-sized pieces. What are your goals for this year, for this quarter, for this month, for this week? So it's vision. Then it is why. Why are those your goals? Why is that your vision? Our why must be strong enough to overcome any of the obstacles, hurdles, detours, potholes that we might come across along the way. And when we know why we are aiming for something, let's take a financial goal. If someone's goal is to hit $1 million revenue in their business, it is never about the money. It is always about what the money can do for them, whether
Mhm.
it's more team, whether it's more advertising, whether it's office space, whether it's more time to spend with a loved one or a vacation, retirement, house, whatever it might be. It's what does that money do for them? So when they are really clear on the why, the goal is the fuel stays flamed under their booty and they keep moving. The third point I would say is about setting milestones and times for celebration. So, just like I said,
Mhm.
it's not just about the annual goal. Break that down because it's about the energy. So if you can be setting weekly goals and then you are accomplishing those weekly goals, your energy is elevated and you're encouraged to just go out and rinse and repeat the same activity to keep the momentum going. And so, not just for yourself, set those opportunities for the team also to build the cohesiveness, the camaraderie, the working together to achieve the milestones long before that annual goal or that 5 year vision. And I think those three things are part of the secret sauce to really keeping that spark in place and keeping the momentum going.
Thank you. Those were wonderful. And I do agree 100% with all of those. And one of the ones that really struck me is the micro wins, the
Yes.
celebration, because we are always judging ourselves. We are usually our worst critics, and
Mhm.
we are always striving for more. But when you look at what you have achieved, and not at the end of the year, but like you said, as you go along, you're celebrating your success. You're celebrating,
Mhm.
whatever it was that you did that year, and that's, or that week or that month. And that's so important because it gives back. And like you said, it fuels your energy, and it lifts your emotional state as well. So you're not just feeling heavy and burdened with, oh my gosh, next week I've got to do more of that. No, it's like, yay, I did it. you know, and that all comes to play, right? At the end,
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
sure.
There's an exercise that I share with clients and I do myself, and it stemmed from my years in corporate. I was the individual who I may have hit 90% of all the tasks on my plate out of the park, did them incredibly well. Yet every night I would be going to bed thinking about the 10% that I didn't get to,
Mm.
that I made a mistake on, that I didn't take as far as I could. And that, there's scientific proof that what we're thinking before we fall asleep will set the energetic vibration for the next morning. That does not create a good energy of wanting to wake up and go back to the office. And so, what I found is that every night before I go to bed, if I got in the habit of thinking about what are three things that I can celebrate from today that I created and accomplished, it became a great habit. It did not feel comfortable in the beginning at all. And many times in the beginning, one of the three things that I would celebrate was the fact that I was actually doing that exercise, that I was actually pausing to think about what are three things. One of them was the fact that I was doing that. So it was definitely very foreign, yet it becomes a fabulous snowball when you're doing celebrations at night and then you're waking up in the morning thinking about what are three things that you're grateful for. For me, that really helped move me out of what was a fairly negative and toxic routine and energy and environment into what I wanted to create here in my business and with my clients.
Mm. That is a fabulous practice that we all
Mhm.
need to do. I mean, really, I love that you said that it affects your energetic vibration when you wake
Yeah.
up. And it's no wonder that a lot of us wake up feeling heavy, feeling, oh, another day. Oh, there's so much to do, even just getting out of bed. It's like- but yes, absolutely. I mean, that is, wow, that for me, I
Mhm.
wasn't aware of that. So that is something that we all need to practice. It doesn't matter if you're an executive or not. Just go to
Correct.
bed with some positivity as opposed
Yeah.
to thinking of the to-do list for tomorrow, because that's
Mhm.
usually for women, especially because we have much on our list besides the work. It's the house, the kids, I mean, it just goes on and on. But yes, absolutely. That may fall into the gratefulness category as well. But it's
Mhm.
definitely something that your micro wins. Thank you. I love that practice. Something we all need to do, everyone. So definitely get into it.
Absolutely.
Like you said, even if you're saying I'm grateful that I'm doing this, or I'm giving myself credit for doing this practice. So
Yep.
that's a great one for getting my pajamas on. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's silly right at the beginning. If you can't think of anything, just, oh, I brushed my teeth. Well, that's a good win
Yes.
for today. Right. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So, we have talked about why it's important to
Mhm.
work on yourself to with self growth and development to help grow your business. Can you delve a little bit more into that? Because I know that this is a big area today, especially in the work that you do in self growth and development. And you touched on it a little bit, but is there anything more you'd like to share with us in that area?
Absolutely. It was about 20 years ago, after kind of my awakening at 30. Um, I was introduced to a personal growth and development company. I went on to do 5 or 6 different levels of leadership courses with them: high ropes, low ropes, classroom, out in the wilderness, all of it. And it just really opened my eyes to the fact that two things. One, we can be a victim or a victor And that choice is ours every single hour of every day. And that, that really was my first awareness of empowerment and choice, and that what we experience in our life truly is our choice, and what we do with it, how we respond to it. The other element is that you're either growing or you're decaying. And that was a
Mm.
rather depressing thought. Yet it made so much sense, because if we are looking to grow as business owners, if we're wanting to grow our business, grow our teams, that growth starts with us. Because how in the world, as the leader of that organization, if we're not committed to continually learning and evolving and enhancing what we're creating, how in the world can we expect that to happen? And just even thinking about team development as well, when it comes to hiring, I think one area business owners could improve is you don't hire for where you are, you're hiring for where you're going.
Mm.
Along those lines is, you're not going to get the growth by staying stagnant with the team you have. And so, what are you doing to continually invest in that team, lead that team to more growth? Because it is true, your team is as strong as its weakest link. And as the
Mhm.
leader, we want to make absolutely certain that you staying stagnant do not become that weakest link. We want to make sure that you're really in that growth mode and in a growth trajectory.
Yes, absolutely. It's so vital. I refer to our minds as our library. And if
Mm,
we don't keep feeding our library, we there's not enough to pull from. Like when knowledge is very
mhm.
important, and the more knowledge we have, the more we get to pull from that knowledge. Like you've learned about the power of energy and the power
Mhm.
of doing these successful habits and practices that you come in that help you grow not only in your life but then takes it over into your business because
Right.
you know bring your team in. And I love that you said when you hire, you don't hire for today, you hire for the future. Wow, that's a light
Yes.
bulb. Absolutely. So yes, thank you for that. That really makes a big difference in everybody's viewpoint and why the self growth and development. And that is huge today. And it's more prevalent in women than it is in men. It's very
It is.
interesting. Yeah, it is.
That could be a
And
whole nother show, right?
I know it could be, and I really feel that shift is coming because I was saying to someone that the top five leadership qualities today in today's world, because everything has shifted so much and everything is chaotic and things are just going to keep changing exponentially, especially with AI and technology and so on and so forth, and jobs and people wanting to be hybrid or working remotely. The five leadership skills are all feminine energy. It's empathy, communication,
Yeah.
collaboration. There's two others that don't come to mind, but they're all from the feminine energy. So I thought that's very
Mm.
interesting, you know. So
That is
wonderful,
interesting. And I will
isn't
say
it?
that about half of my clients are men. So there is definitely a population of men out there who do exemplify those five traits and do want to continue to evolve and grow so that they can grow their organization. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you there. Well, you say that you have a holistic approach to business. I love that. Can you explain what that looks like and why it makes a difference?
Absolutely. And, part of this has been my own evolution stemming from that trip to the emergency room and cardiologist office, was knowing that I needed to, or I didn't need to. That's another one of my pet peeves when I get into working with people on the power of words is, um, what I will benefit from is to find new practices that would support me in living a less stressed life and to really having an outlet to let go of the stress and the anxiety, so that I could remain healthy and be making solid decisions. And so by holistic, what I mean there is I actually, of course, we are setting business goals. Of course, we are having metrics and KPIs, and we'll focus on your leadership growth and finances, absolutely, in the business. There's also two other pillars because I really have every client set goals in 5 areas. So it's the business goals, the financial goals, the leadership goals. On the personal side, it's the physical goals. And what I mean by that are the body goals, because it's your medical. I mean, I come across a lot of owners who have not been keeping up with their checkups that they know would be beneficial. So it's making sure that those appointments are on the calendar and that is happening, the screenings, the x-rays, the blood tests, whatever it might be. But also the emotional health, the mental health, the nutritional, and of course, more and more science has come out and just how important sleep is, and that's our body's ability to really rejuvenate our health from the very cells that we're made up of. And so we're looking at goals in the health arena. And that, of course, may include meditation. And exercise, nutrition, sleep, hydration. More and more people, of course, as we're sitting in our offices, either in front of the computer or in the conference room at meetings, we're not always getting the amount of activity that our body would be best served by. So all of that is being brought into goal setting. The second area is relationships. And this starts with the relationship with ourselves. And sometimes it's about self-care. Sometimes it's about taking ourselves on a date, and getting back to our hobbies and our interests. It also could be making sure that we are actually having date nights with our significant other. I have some who have children at home and they want to, or even when they're out of the house, make sure that they're setting time to really continue to nurture the relationship with their children or with their parents, with their girlfriends. And that's the opportunity to really focus on the life outside of the office, because what we also know to be true is when we are feeling happier, more joy-filled, more joyful, we will show up at a higher energetic level when we hit the office and are leading that organization as well. So it's really, that's the holistic aspect of ensuring that our personal life is not coming in last. I actually start with those two goals, even if it's simply what's one thing this week that you can do in those two areas while we continue to work on the business. And that makes a profound impact. Sometimes when clients come to me, they are feeling overworked, overwhelmed. They haven't been taking care of themselves. And we'll start by, I'm sharing all my nuggets here, or many of my nuggets, but start by creating a list of 20 things that put a smile on your face and bring you happiness, whether it's something you've actually done or something you've been talking about wanting to do for years and you haven't. I ask you to make that list of 20 things, and the next step is pick one of them and put it on your calendar sometime in the next 7 to 10 days. Because the benefit is not just the event. When we put something we're excited about on our calendar, we get the momentum and the excitement leading up to the event, during the event, and then we have the post glow after that event. And that just is a great way to immediately start changing the energy of how you're approaching life and business.
You're setting their energy, you're recalibrating their energy, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that is so vital. Because in yoga, what we say is, when you have an ache or a pain, and of course you spoke on this with people being more sedentary, sitting in front of their machines, you get up and maybe your legs are stiff, your back is stiff, whatever. And I say it's stuck energy. So to get it moving, just move your arms or lift your legs, or but yeah, when you look at it that way, you're thinking, okay, yeah, it does feel like stuck energy. And when you start to move that energy, then you're moving the energy around you as well. So yes,
Hmm.
recalibrating your energy is just vital. And when you're absolutely right, when you make a point of going to something that you enjoy doing on your 20 favorite things, you do get
Hmm.
excited about it. It's like going on a
Absolutely.
trip, when you build the momentum, and then you're looking forward to that day, you're looking forward to that week, and of course that radiates everywhere you go, from your
Hmm.
house to your office to the people around you, and they're like, why are you so happy? Well, I'm going to treat myself today. Or I
Yes.
say, Dana, I say, how we say things for a special occasion. I say,
Hmm.
wake up, women, you are the special occasion. You are the special
100%.
occasion, right? And when
I
you put it
like
that
that.
way, they go, wow, I like that. I think you're right. I am the special occasion. So
Yep.
the next time you're thinking of it, just say, wait a minute, I'm the special occasion. I'm going to do it now.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I like
fabulous.
that.
Well, speaking of on that vein, I love what you say here. You say, I focus on your mindset and the power of words, teaching the principles of neuroplasticity and daily practices as key components for success in business as well as life. Now, I just love that comes off your website. And do you want to give us an insight into that?
Absolutely. Neuroplasticity, while it sounds like a very big, audacious, scientific, what exactly does that mean word? In simple terms, it's the ability to rewire our brain. And that simply means, if I give the example, as when we're born as babies, we have no idea what right is versus wrong is. We learn that through nurturing and through environment. And the older we get, we tend to have conformed to the people around us, and we have developed beliefs oftentimes based on other people's beliefs or other people's desires for us, and we don't even realize that that's happening. So then when we become an adult, it's that same mentality of victim or victor, and understanding that we get to choose, and the same circumstances can happen to two different people, and they may respond two different ways, and then they have two different experiences. And so it is about choice, but it's about belief and the power of words. What I mean there is almost every word in our language is either rooted in scarcity or rooted in abundance. And so the best leaders of organizations can have the best strategies in place. They can have the strongest teams in place. However, if their belief, if their mindset is not aligned with what is possible, they either will not achieve what is possible, or if they do, they'll think it was a fluke and they'll go right back to where they were because the mindset was not aligned. And so oftentimes I can have a conversation with an individual, and I catch myself. There are times, as I did earlier, where I will use a word that I know is rooted in scarcity. And I will catch myself and do my best to replace that word, because I want to speak as if things are possible. I want to be coming from a place of abundance. I don't want to be coming from a place of restriction, doubt, or fear. And there are some words, like when we say we need to do something, when we should have, we could have, we would have, we must. I think need and must are the two that always give me the stronger, or that allow me to show the strongest example. When I say I have to, I must, I need to, you can see my hands are kind of clenching, and that's for dramatic visual here. It's to signify that there was resistance in me before that word ever came out. Versus if I say, instead of I have to, I get to, it's a
Yeah.
very different energy, and that resistance has been removed, which means I'm a lot more inclined to go do whatever it is we're referring to because I get to do it versus I have to do it or I need to do it. And until people hear that explanation, I know I didn't know there was a difference in the words until I started studying this. And quite honestly, I studied it for years before I actually realized it was part of neuroplasticity. Years ago, if you had even given me that word, I would not have been drawn to study it. However, as I have evolved to learn more about energy and mindset, it's something that absolutely has attracted me to want to know more so that I can reframe things in my own life and help others do the same.
Yes, fabulous. That was just perfect, and you're correct. I love that you said it's either rooted in scarcity or abundance.
Mhm.
And yes, they, like you said, all the words have an energy. And when you say I have to versus I get to, it also changes your perspective
Yes.
because it shifts
Yeah.
everything. It
Mhm.
changes the energy, it shifts your viewpoint of what you, it's like, oh boy, I get to do this. And it's interesting because when we change the way we see things, the things we see change. And so that's
Yes.
exactly what that does, right?
Mhm.
Because we're changing the
100%.
way we see things, right? So thank you for that. I've always said that words are so important. There's a very famous Japanese scientist, you may have heard of him, Emoto, and he did an experiment with words. And he had he's done many experiments. One was on gratitude, and he had a jar with rice in it. He had two jars
Mhm.
with rice in it. And one said, thank you so much. And the other one said, it had something very negative, like you don't deserve this. And he
Mhm.
had students come in every day and read to both of those jars or beakers, the words every day. And the beaker where they said thank you so much, the rice was white and fluffy and beautiful, and the other jar where it says you don't deserve this, it was black and glucky and all kinds of, and it was the same environment. It was just the words that were being spoken, and it was like,
Mhm.
wow, that's amazing. So yeah, there has been quite a bit of research since done on the power of words, and it's the energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that. So here's a question that I have for you on marketing, because one of the things that we struggle with today, I believe, especially the CEOs and the entrepreneurs, is there's online and there's the traditional marketing. And in your experience, where do you feel business owners should be spending their time for the best results? Because an entirely different marketplace than when you and I were younger. And there was one way of marketing. There's very traditional ways, and now I think that it stresses people out. Basically, that's just my opinion. But yeah, sometimes you're like, where do I go to stress? To get my message across.
Absolutely. It's, that what a great question. And I'm smiling and smirking because one of my degrees in college was in marketing. And I laugh because certainly psychology of marketing, I don't believe it has changed too much. However, when I think about when I was in college, I didn't even own my own computer. You didn't need to. You went, you got time in a computer lab and went to it. And my have times changed now. I think the question you've posed is a very broad one, and so I don't want to give false direction here on any way. I think it depends where your clients are, where your ideal target market hangs out. And if you can reach that target market through online marketing and it's economical for you, then by all means do online. If you're in industry where you can reach your ideal client better in offline marketing, then that's where you need to be. I think for most of my clients, service based business owners, online is absolutely where we are meeting people, where we're networking, where we're nurturing relationships, and even in some areas, able to actually convert clients through a direct message. Or a
Mhm.
landing page. I think it really depends, again, where your ideal market is hanging out and what's in alignment with how you spend your day. I know some that like to do a lot of in person networking, and that's fantastic for them. I know others, even before COVID, such as myself, I do some, but I'm very strategic with my in person networking, and a lot of it is online. I know at one point I thought I wanted to be doing a lot of speaking. However, what I also became very aware of is I didn't want to be traveling. That's one of the reasons I left
Mhm.
corporate consulting is I had a young son at the time home, and I didn't want to be hitting the airport or staying in hotel rooms. I wanted to be at home with him. So I think it's a combination of knowing the type of business you want to be building, where you are willing to invest your time, energy, and resources to reach your client, and what ultimately you're looking to create. So for myself, my clients, it really is more of the online marketing, and even those that want to be doing speaking. A lot of events post COVID are still online.
Virtual.
So that you
Mhm.
can be that speaker, you can be on podcasts like this without leaving your office or even the comfort of your own home, depending on how you're working. So while that wasn't a very specific answer, I think it's very industry specific and very personal choice.
Yes. No, I think that was perfect. And I love that you brought in the personal choice because a lot of people, they get so on the business track, the go, go, go. And well, I don't really want to do this. There's that a word that we don't want to use. But, there, now you've got me aware, which is great. And they don't think of, well, wait a minute, is that going to fit into the lifestyle that I want? Because, or the
Right.
lifestyle that I desire. Let's take away that
Mm-hmm.
want, because I know that's a scarcity word. The lifestyle that
It
I
is.
desire to create for myself, because
Mm-hmm.
it is a choice, like you say, and it's all about bringing it back, because we always, we have been taught in the past that we just have to do what's necessary. I mean, that's from my upbringing. You just got to
Right.
do it. If it has to be done, it has to be done. And when you get
Mm-hmm.
to, when you get more mature and you've got experience in your life, like you have and I have, and most of the individuals, or I believe all of the individuals you've been dealing with, you start to assess things a lot more differently and look at things like, no, maybe this is something that I need to put into my entire calendar and see if this is where I want to go. And this would be vital to teach the young people that are up and
Mm-hmm.
coming. Like you said, you got into your career very young, and you excelled extremely fast, and that was fantastic. But no one said to you, Dana, how's your personal life? Are you treating yourself? Are you giving yourself some space to breathe? And you would have been, no, I'm too busy. And then it might have just, the light bulb might have gone on. But wouldn't that be interesting to have
Yeah.
something that would tell the young up and coming executives that you
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that what you're doing is fitting into the life you are creating, because we all create
Yeah.
our own stories, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. That was great. No, I think that was absolutely perfect. And I had never thought of that in a marketing concept. That what is it
Mm-hmm.
that what is it that's going to fit comfortably in the life that you are creating? Like you said,
Right.
being a speaker, but you don't want to travel. Are you comfortable being online? And do you want to be online? Is that your gift? If not, maybe that's a delegate, right? Like one of
Mm-hmm.
those things on your
Yep.
list. So absolutely, no, that was perfect. I loved it. So tell us, what part of your business excites you the most?
Hmm. I would say it's no question that it's the work I get to do directly with clients. Just knowing that I am part of something so much bigger than myself. And quite honestly, just even bigger than just that one person. If I looked at one particular client, it's knowing that the more they are guided to be the next best version of themselves, every person in their life benefits from that, from their spouse or their loved one, their children. I have clients who tell me they've taken some of our exercises to their dinner table with their kids to talk about what are the high lows of the day, or what are their goals, what are their visions, what's on their bucket list for the year. I do a bucket list with my own son of what experiences does he want to have in any given year, so that then I can be looking at and making sure that we're creating those, or I'm creating those experiences for him. So it's knowing that I'm impacting them as a leader, and that they are developing their leadership skills, because many of them don't have leadership experience. And sometimes they're not even clear on the difference between a manager and a leader. I
Mm.
also, and I don't want to offend anyone with this, but the word boss is a word that I cringe at because to me, boss is about the individual's ego. That is about what's in it for them, where leadership is about what's in it for what they're trying to accomplish, whether it's one person, whether it's a team of 30, 50, it's the collective accomplishment. And I'm also the type of leader who believes and encourages in other leaders that you actually are there to support your team. Your team isn't there to support you. It's the reverse. It's you are there to ensure that every single one of your team members has what they require to be successful in their position, and for the collective team to accomplish their goals. And so that is absolutely what lights me up. I'm someone who believes you can lead from the back of the room by encouraging that you're empowering your team and giving them the tools to be successful. That's what lights me up.
Mm. Absolutely. It's a domino effect. You're not
It is.
affecting one person, you're affecting many. Because
Yes.
even if they don't have a family, they're going out and then using the tools that you have given them to inspire others, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth. So it becomes, yes, it grows. It just grows
Yeah.
exponentially. And the more individuals that understand, like you said, leadership, and of course, self
Mhm.
leadership is extremely vital. And that's people
Yep.
investing in you, that's them taking leadership of
Correct.
themselves, right? That's
Mhm.
putting them as the luxury of their life. Stop
Yep.
hiding. You are the special occasion, you know?
Yes.
And absolutely, I love it. Well, one critical message, if there was one, that you would want to share with the world, what would it be?
Great question. I think it's to really give yourself permission not only to believe what's possible, to also then know that you're worthy of creating the exact life and business that you've envisioned.
Mm.
I think so often we allow our beliefs to settle into mediocrity, and that doesn't serve anyone.
Yes, absolutely. It's sort of goes to a Rumi saying when I think of it. It says, do you accept that you are a drop in the ocean, or do you accept that you are the entire ocean in a single drop?
Oh, that's a good one. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Because we
Absolutely.
are.
And we are. I like that. And I also like the idea of we are the whole ocean, and yet we also have the power in our ripple effect for everyone else that we touch, those that we know and those that we don't know.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's a collective energy. I mean,
Hmm.
it really is a collective. I mean, whether you want to call it God or the universe or a life force, it is a collective.
Hmm.
The best way to describe it is when you go into a room and let's say they've got a great speaker and you can feel the energy in the room. I mean, nothing even has to be happening. People, there's an energy that's in that container. And the same goes with if it's something that's very like when 9/11, when you had all those people crowded around that television. I'm sure it was heavy. The energy was heavy and very somber. So it is a collective energy. And so
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have the potential. One of the things that um, Cantfield said this. He
Hmm.
said the greatest plight of the human being is knowing that you have more potential and not using it. See,
Yes.
that's it. That's it. It's
Yes.
because we have that
Mhm.
potential. So absolutely. So give our audience an idea of your program, where they can find you, and any more information. And we'll be sure to have all of this on the Epic Vision Zone bio pages as well.
Thank you so much. As I've shared, I do work with service-based business owners who are really looking to grow and optimize their way to seven figures. So they come to me, whether they're at their first six figures, whether at multiple six figures, really wanting to streamline and simplify their way to seven figures and more. Some clients do come to me already been at seven figures, yet they realize there's a lot of room to really streamline and simplify the business. So we're doing that while they're continuing to grow as well. I do have multiple ways to work with me, and it really depends on what you're looking for, whether it's private coaching, where we're really looking at personalized, customized pathway to helping you achieve those goals and working with the specifics that you're facing. Some of you may not want that private coaching. You're looking for education, accountability, community, and the opportunity to learn through other people's questions and challenges as well as your own. That I do also have as a group program. It's a year-long program called the Optimized Seven Figure Business. And then for those of you that are really wanting to learn more at this point and kind of do it on your own, I also have that available as well. And I combine that with some group action coaching calls as well. So all three of them, you do get direct access to me. It just depends which way you would prefer to work and how quickly you want to progress. The best way to reach me is Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm in there daily. I also have launched a newsletter on LinkedIn called Optimize Your Way to Seven Figures. It produces an article every single week. So I encourage you to find me on LinkedIn. Go ahead and subscribe to that newsletter. And of course, if you'd like to reach out direct, you can do that as well on both of those platforms. That's probably the
Mm.
easiest way. Of course, the website, direct email is always there as well. But Facebook and LinkedIn is probably the easiest way to send you to me that way.
Mm. That's great. I love it. You're covering all your bases. So it's wonderful. I love it for sure. Well, because Dana, we're here on the Epic Vision Zone, I have one last question.
Mhm.
If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
I have to admit that this question, I loved it, and it really had me thinking. Um, and I would say it's Forged in Grace, a journey of authentic leadership, compassion, and resilience.
Mm, that's beautiful. Forged in grace. Oh my. Well, now you have to write it. Come on. That is absolutely beautiful because you've got a juxtaposition there. Forge and then
Yeah,
grace.
yeah.
So the strength
And
and the balance. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that really stems from in my 20s when I was climbing the corporate ladder. I didn't know a whole lot about leadership in that decade, and I would say if I look back at myself, it was more manager by dictatorship.
Yeah.
And I had a compliment from one of my counterparts. He oversaw another department at one point. He's like, Dana, I learned the most from you, but you were the hardest one to work with. And that was in my 20s. And so that, at the time, it hit me, well, great. You learned the most from me. Like I just took that and I went with it. And then I'm very happy, grounded, and proud to say that I've learned that you can learn a lot from me and I can be the easiest person to work with as well. And so I don't know that I had thought that through when I used Forged in Grace. And yet that is the perfect example as I've done more work on myself and learned that there is nothing wrong with grace and there is actually a lot of power and strength in grace. You don't
Mm.
need to be that dictator to command attention. You can get it, you can earn it, you can receive it just as well through grace.
Absolutely. In fact, it resonates more through grace.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
will, and it'll transform more through grace. It's like the butterfly, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it from the caterpillar to the butterfly. It's a transformation of grace.
Yeah.
It's not being hit on by somebody or shaken up.
Yeah.
You got to come out. But
Yeah.
absolutely, wow, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much again for being here and joining us and sharing all those fabulous tips and information that you have. And for more information to connect with Dana, like I said, she has provided that information, but all of it will be on the Epic Vision Zone bio pages, where you can also link with her on the social media platforms and direct information as well. And don't miss an episode by listening on your favorite app or subscribing to the Epic Vision Zone YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath and connect with me at janeapplegath.com, where you can access your free download, The Keys to Your Dreams Success. Sending you much love and success. This is the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.